Vibranium. They say life is great.
And you're on. Hey guys, and welcome back to the Vibranium project. Once again, you're joined by Josh, Kynan, Rami, and Tyrone. And I guess my first question to you lads is, just like every other podcast, where are we this week? It's like a different place every week, you know what I mean? Just changing it up a little. Where are we, Ray?
Mate, we are in a place where there's multi-million-dollar real estate on the Brisbane River. Shit that we can't afford.
Well, it's all about dreaming, right? Three of us here can't afford.
Yeah, so that's all three except for Kine. So it's pretty bull. I can't lie. Inspiration.
You know they always talk about like you have to like envision your dream and to make a reality sort of thing.
Yeah.
Clearly, that's what we're doing.
That's it. Because like. It's not like going to buy one of these big donglers.
Yeah, it's not like we just drive around on random nights throughout the year and just visit, all these properties.
Yeah,
we don't want to buy that.
It is nice. All jokes aside, we're on the Brisbane River here. It's warm.
Yeah,
humid.
Quite humid. It's hot.
Yeah, for a night it's quite hot.
It is approaching 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
And it's still very warm.
Yeah, mosquitoes flying around.
I still had to turn on my aircon the other day. Well,
Yeah.
When I say the other day, literally yesterday. That's in March.
It's in March, man. We're in autumn. Feels like summer.
Yeah, but that's like, if you think about it, that's like mostly like typical Australian weather, right? You know what I mean?
Not on Adelaide and thingy, bro. Adelaide, when we went there in like March, April for one of my work's graduate training programs there, bro. Adelaide is actually cold.
It is.
I think it's actually cold.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I noticed with my time in Adelaide was the fact that like when it's hot, it's really hot, and then it's like just hot, and then like if it's cold, it's cold. It's not like Brisbane's really like in between, and it's always like really humid. For example, like Adelaide, it's like when the sun's beaming it down, you die, but then you go to the shade and you're okay, right?
Well, at work,
There's no humidity.
one of the ladies, she's from Toronto, and I was speaking to her yesterday because she works at a cafe thing we got down there, and she was saying that the Brisbane winter, when it's like 18 degrees, she's like, that's a perfect weather for someone from Canada, well, her specific area is Toronto, to sunbake. And I'm like, woman, sunbake? 18 degrees? Dude, I got my shirt, I got my jumper, I got my jacket, I got my trousers, I got my socks, I got my shoes. I have a scarf, I had one too.
Yeah, in England, it's like, as soon as it gets over 15 degrees, it's like beach weather to go like surfing and
Dude, that's not
swimming
normal.
and stuff.
No, that's not normal.
Nah,
Well, it is over there, right?
No.
see, the
Normal's
thing is-
here.
Yeah.
Like, I went to Blackpool, which is like up north England, and it was quite cool. Probably, 12 degrees or something. But people swim.
Wow, right. That's our June, July, man.
Dude,
That's August.
That's worst
Bro.
August.
Yeah, this is summer too.
August
This is
as well,
summertime.
man.
That's summer.
Getting up in like, yeah, that's the summer. Getting up in during that period, man.
Oh, dude, it's so
Yeah,
hard.
it's
On the
just
train
like-
station.
Dude, you're like, God, what have I done?
But it's like, you look at, but you're just comparing like Australia to like other countries, right? Like you're just looking at now, like, I don't know,
Well, we'll definitely know what America's going to be like.
yeah, and we're hitting a bit of Canada too, aren't we?
Yeah, so
It's gonna be
summer
cold.
too.
It's gonna be cold.
yeah, and I'm not going to be going up there and be like, oh yeah, mate, it's their summer, it's awesome. No, I know definitely when we get into LA.
Your winter dressing?
No, when we get to LA, it's going to be essentially.
Okay, that's
like
south, more south, right?
exactly
Bro, it's gonna be hot. It's gonna be hot in LA.
Yeah,
Like this?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be like this.
It's gonna be
Cool,
like this.
perfect. I like that.
But well, only there for 4 days. But when we go to the
Other places?
northern hemisphere, like
the northern part of it.
which is predominantly majority of our trip is.
Yeah, it's gonna be freezing.
It's gonna be nice.
I'm
gonna be lovely.
I'm gonna Google search the weather before we go.
It's probably a good idea, David.
Yeah. Do we live in a lucky country?
I reckon so.
Yes, absolutely.
I've always thought like
No guns. I'm happy with that.
yeah. I mean, you compare it to things that you see. Like, not everything about this country is great, but that's kind of how everything is in life, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Bill
like,
Shorten. Stop taking away my franking credits, bro.
Stop taking away my trust, bro.
Stop taking away my CGT discount.
Just stop being an asshole.
okay.
Just die. No, don't.
Good kidding, guys. We're not
No.
politically.
Okay.
Anyway,
okay.
continue.
Do you want to say stuff?
But yeah.
But I think we're definitely really lucky in terms of the country that we have. There are so many great things about this country, especially when you compare it to what you see happening in other countries and things like that. Like, I think one of the biggest things that I think a lot of Australians do or might take for granted is the security that we have in our country. Like
No borders.
No borders being a prime example of that. The only way to access pretty much Australia is by air or sea, and it's easier to kind of look at those. Thanks, mate.
Nice car. Is that Audi or is that Mazda?
There's an
Audi.
Audi Q5.
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
Um,
See, we were legit when we said we're in a multi-million-dollar place. So, yeah. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, our borders can easily be protected, and we have been protected for so long.
Mm.
We don't have random stragglers going across, and then it's easier to keep in a good. You know, when you're like your neighbours, you're okay with your neighbours, all you do is say hi, bye to them. You
Yeah.
actually talk to them.
Yeah.
That's the sort of relationship you can uphold with them. Obviously,
Yeah.
in closer countries like New Zealand and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, New Zealand's alright.
Yeah, but then like across like a lot of other countries, for example, like going to like the EU, there can easily be like a lot of like, you know, a bit of tussles, arguments
Yeah.
here and there, back and forth. Like I'm like, well, hey.
And part of that's because we're not actually we're pretty isolated, like
Yeah.
down
Right.
here, right?
I tell you what, you've just like the fact that we're bordered by water.
Yeah.
Has just taken out one whole continent's, I guess, motivation to come here.
Yeah.
Africa, we don't swim.
Oh, Northern Indians, bro. Well,
Well,
so
just-
many of us say yes. To
yeah,
Yeah.
well, but that's because we come here through like
legit
the
ways.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I agree. I think I mean that's definitely a plus. Our healthcare is pretty. I mean, we have like stupid lines, like queues for some things, but the fact that it's free is pretty good, I guess.
Yeah.
Right.
I've got a story about that actually.
Yeah. No go.
So obviously, when we were coming in from Egypt,
Yep.
Obviously, I'm not from here.
Mhm.
Like I wasn't born here and stuff. African background, and so when we went through Egypt as like a intermediary city
Mm.
to come here,
Mm.
we were either given America as first choice and then Australia was second choice.
Mm.
Now the only reason why we didn't take America was because our visa got denied
So that's where you wanted to go.
twice.
Yeah. Right.
And the only reason I wanted to go there was just like, cousins were there, uncles.
Yeah, you got a big
and
community
aunties,
over there, you say.
right?
Yeah.
But luckily we went here because as soon as my mum came here,
Yeah.
she got diagnosed with bowel cancer.
Yeah, it would be
Over
expensive
there-
to get that treated.
Correct.
Yeah.
So because of the fact, this country has free healthcare.
Yep.
My mum's able to live and breathe and be with me today.
Yeah. Yeah, man, it's big, eh?
So I'm like,
Yeah,
say what you
it
want to
costs like
say.
200 grand, man, if you're in
Well,
America.
and exactly right. So when I try to quantify it, I'm like, well, me and my brother were like, you're still in school,
Yeah,
right?
you wouldn't be your dad.
my
Your dad.
my dad was the only one working. He
Yeah.
didn't, he wouldn't have a high-paying job straight up. He'd have to do a bridging course for his nursing degree.
Yeah.
My mum wouldn't have been able to work.
Yeah.
I guess my family members there, we ain't that close. It's just like, oh yeah, you're my cousin. That's it.
Yeah.
So, man, it would have been really hard, and I thank God every day.
Yeah.
The fact that we came to this country.
Yeah.
And the fact that, especially with Hex as well. Yeah, I know we don't get it as good as the Europeans, but
Mm.
the fact that I'm able to come from a low-income family and still enjoy the benefits of, education.
Yeah, unlike America, you have to pay up
I
front or
Yeah,
have those
student loan.
student loans
Or
that are
scholarship.
what? They're like $150,000 US or something.
Correct.
And it's hard to find job. But one thing.
And you have to do masters before you get for accountants out there.
Yeah.
You have to get.
before you become a CPA.
You have to before you become a CPA. You
Yeah.
have to get your masters.
Yeah.
Stuff. That's so many barriers to entry, man.
So many basic.
And like
But oh, sorry, can you go?
Oh, just gonna say, if you want to do med, you have to do like pre-med and stuff, and it takes like forever.
A degree to get a degree.
Yeah.
But you know what? Like, I think. I mean, this is my critique. My opinion, whatever you want to call it. I think it'd be good, like, cause even Australia. So for people who are unaware, in Australia, when you go for a degree, you effectively get a loan with the government, and it's paid progressively once you earn a certain
indexes at
yeah
CPI
and inflation rate, and you got to earn a certain amount before you even start paying it up, which is a sweet deal. But I reckon would be even better is like just to have like because the other side, people who are listening to our podcast who like understand economics, they'd be like, oh well, you're gonna have an oversupply of graduates, and I get that, but I reckon to have the best of both worlds, why don't we just make education entirely free, but you have super high interest exams, and you just take the cream of the crop, right? But it's fully free. It's fully free. Like that way, if
You gotta fight for your spot.
you fight for your spot, but it's free. Right? You know what I mean? You don't have any loan or whatever. Anyway, that's just my opinion.
Yeah, let's do that.
Could
'cause
that-
I'm already in.
Yeah. Especially
Could
now.
that-
As soon as we got CA,
Yeah.
make it the hardest
Bro,
exam
make it
out.
the hardest exam,
Bro,
bro.
give it
3%
like-
pass rate.
What is it? Stochastic accounting or whatever?
Oh, stochastic. It's to get based on stochastic derivatives.
Yeah, do that.
Yeah.
Do that. I don't know how to do that, but do that now.
Do that now.
You see, here's my question then, right? Would that not possibly make it into a rich get richer, poor get poorer system?
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, if you got it's a high entrance exams, man. I don't think so because there wouldn't be like the OB system Queensland had where you're based on everyone else. I reckon it's like
Which I friggin' hate it.
yeah, which was
yeah, but the
skewed.
key thing is, right? Let's say you come from a poorer income family, like lower socioeconomic, right?
Yep.
The school you're not going to go to is not going to be too great, right?
Yep.
In that sort of system, you end up going to a private school. You may as well be the OP system, right? Because those private schools are going to want their students to excel, so they're going to start pumping resources into it because they can afford to do so. Whereas public schools or schools in lower socioeconomic areas won't have the resources to do that. It's a rich get richer, poor get poorer system.
I don't agree, man. The reason I don't agree
Are
is
you guys arguing about that entrance exam?
I,
No, because you said it was free.
yeah, fully free.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because you have to. It's
Now,
actually at the end of the
Josh's
day to
point
get
is
to
this:
you.
he reckons that the private schools will be able to give more resources to richer kids to prepare more. But I disagree because we got the internet, which is access to all the
Mate,
knowledge in the world.
I learned how to do cash flow models just on YouTube.
Yeah, bro. I think if you've driven enough, if you're committed enough, that wouldn't be an issue because it'd be based on your individual
Yeah,
score.
like, I guess my counter argument, which, Jashir, you completely have a good point, you know what I mean? I recognize that, you've got a good point. However, in saying that, there are alternate avenues
To manage it.
to manage it. Yeah, especially in this day and age where.
But that's if you know how to look for it. If you grow up in this like household that's on kind of like welfare kind of thing, your parents don't work or whatever.
Me.
You're not on welfare. Your parents, help you and
My mom and dad were on welfare.
yeah, but I'm talking about like stereotypically an Aboriginal family where this is legit how they live though, and they don't know how to live up to their potential because they don't have their parents that will drive them because their parents didn't drive them,
Yeah, but our current
and it's
system
just
isn't
they're
resolving
stuck in that rut.
Our current system isn't resolving that either, is it?
Yeah, but then the point is, would that system resolve it?
It will resolve it better because we've got over the supply of graduates now in jobs
Here's what I suggest.
with loans.
Why don't we just cull the welfare system? And, I feel that, welfare should only be given for a period of time instead of an indefinite period of time.
Is that how other countries work?
I don't know, but this is what I think.
Well, it depends on your situation. Like if you're, say, in a disability type situation that you can't work, or say you're a carer for someone that's got a disability, then you can't be expected to go find a job after a certain period of time because how's that person going to look after themselves?
On the flip side, though, those with job starters, those job starter welfares and things like that,
but
they should be kept on
all
time.
I'm trying to say is, like, welfare is, the whole basis of welfare, right? It's trying to essentially make you dependent on the government. That's why they give it to these indigenous people so they don't get anywhere. It's the whole basis of it. You become dependent on us.
Sounds like
It is, mate. Think about it.
Yeah.
We give you this money just enough to get by, but not enough to build wealth and get off us, right? And at the end of the day, right, we'll keep giving you this, but just stay where you are.
Yeah,
That's
but
a choice.
more needs to
That
be
is a choice,
done.
Habibi, but you know what I mean?
Some people have a very hard time to get out of that choice, I understand.
Correct. Yeah.
More needs to be done to help them get out of this rut.
How do you suggest?
That's
I
what
just-
I don't necessarily.
brainstorm.
There's
Well, one or two
there's no
ideas.
effort put into them really.
I don't
Well, of course,
necessarily
the only
agree
effort
with that.
is let's just keep giving them what we're giving
See,
them.
the thing is, I don't necessarily agree with that. I've done a lot of Indigenous studies. To
Yes,
help them.
so have I. I've done a lot of studies,
I
but
haven't.
we learn about it.
Yeah.
We don't do anything to actually change it.
I've learned about things that the investment and the resources that are put into these indigenous communities and the opportunities and things that they get. There is plenty out there. There is also, at the same time, often a lack of commitment on their behalf to utilize these resources. Because at the end of the day, you can take. So this comes back to helping your point here. Actually, you can take a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. It doesn't matter how big resources you have, how little resources you have. In this day and age, in this world, even with a little bit of resources, you can make something of yourself. And there are resources being put, because the fact that the indigenous people have been disadvantaged has been around for many, many years, for decades now, and people have been aware of that, and there has been a lot done to it. Now, there's still, I agree, I'm not saying not more needs to be done, but I'm saying there's a lot out there, and their communities, there is plenty going into those communities to really help them out. So in saying that, just it's purely, you can't just say, oh, no, more needs to be done. There is, I have to recognize there is already a lot being done, because at the end of the day, if you start pumping so many resources into them, and then nothing becomes of that, then you're taking away resources from everyone else, right?
Yeah, opportunity cost.
But the resources are going to them anyway. I think you just got to redistribute it into a way that is going to benefit them in the long run.
Yeah.
That's fair. I guess, like, the only reason I'm looking is, like, obviously, like, okay, every town in Africa, except for Ethiopia, has been colonized, right? So, like, I don't mean to sound like a dick or anything, but Aboriginals are not the only people facing this situation around the world, right? However,
but Aboriginals have a government that have the ability to help them, whereas a lot of other governments are too corrupt or don't have the money.
i.e. Africa.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, a lot of Africa, yeah.
Yeah, except Ethiopia, because we were never colonized. Now, moving on from that, I feel that, you know, people come from Africa to this environment where a government is willing to say, hey, look, we'll prop you up here for a second, but, you know, we will not take you any further point from here.
Yeah.
There's two ways to look at that. There's two ways to look at it, which is one way is the one I said earlier. It's like, hey, we'll give you just enough to get by, but not to build wealth. So you still depend on us. Or the second one is use this little platform that you have and springboard off it. Right?
Yeah.
Now, I'm a recipient of the welfare system. And I thank the government for what it has given me, the little burst, the little subsidies that they've given me on a semester by semester basis. Thank you for that. But I always knew that I was going to get off it. You know what I mean? I feel like there's a lot of other Africans and Asian people that are coming from war-torn countries.
Who's happy to chill at the level?
War-torn countries. That come and look at them. They make partners in accounting firms and law firms, and they become doctors and. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like Aboriginal, I get your case. I honestly do. But, like...
It's not only Aboriginals. Like, there's a lot of African gangs in, like, Melbourne and stuff.
Correct. The Apex gang is...
But I feel like they need that exact same help.
Yeah. And look, it's like more or less the fact that it's the parents.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like, oh, yeah, but...
That's why I think
it's like,
they need to help the parents.
Just stop down and be like, all right, look, it has to stop with me. And I see all these campaigns, and I see all these... But it comes right back down to what Joshua said before. You can take the horse to water, but...
Can't make it drink.
Can't make it drink. So it's more just, guys, you guys definitely have the opportunity. However, you just are not taking advantage of it. And, the lefty ones that are, like, all in their feelings, lefties are right. The people all in their feelings, right?
Yeah.
So the lefties will be like, oh, well, you don't know their situation, blah, blah, blah. And you're just like, oh, my mum had cancer. My dad wasn't working caring for her. My brother and I got out of the rut that we were in. I mean, there's no excuse. There's absolutely
no excuse.
Like, this is my opinion, Tyrone's opinion. There is no excuse. There's systems and structures in this country to get you from A to B and to build your wealth from A to B as well.
I think part of this comes back to our last podcast. We talked about time, and in that we were talking about people with different goals and what they want to achieve. Some people want to build a wealth base. Some people want to get out of that situation. But for others, they're happy to stay, I think. And
I think it's more like subjectively where you stand.
Yeah, man. Because like I know heaps of people who are just like they're happy just to live their life as they are. Yeah.
Like that dude that I told you that works with me. Don't say the name. The manager dude.
Oh yeah.
He stayed at that position. He doesn't really care.
Because he's happy with it, right?
He's happy.
Yeah.
He's like, they've given him directorship.
He'll be earning a pretty paycheck too, I imagine.
Yeah, I mean, he obviously negotiates his salary and stuff. But he's like, I don't want to do any more, and I don't want to do any less.
Yeah, which comes back to that point. Some people are just happy to live the way they are. But if I was...
But I don't want people to be like, oh yeah, you're just you got to think of these people. This like, dude, what if they again back to your argument? What if that's just what they want to do?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I get that. I totally get that. I totally get if people want to live the way they want to live, that's up to them. Yeah.
But as
But
long
there
as
is a
they're only
trade-off.
relying on themselves and not relying on
Yeah, I was
someone
just
else.
gonna say there is a trade-off.
Yeah.
There
But
is
in
a
some
trade-off.
people's eyes, they're like, oh, they'll build something. I understand what you guys are saying. I'm not counter arguing. I'm definitely not. I'm just saying some people in their eyes think that they have like they
Lefties, bro.
they're supported by leftist arguments.
But can we give them more of an opportunity to have a further education to get some jobs? Like you talked about entry exams for university as a
But there'll
tertiary
be some
education.
concessions. For
But no,
that as
but
well.
it doesn't have to be university as a tertiary education. They can get other types of education.
Like vet
I
courses.
mean, my brother did
Oh
a
yeah,
trade.
exactly.
Like,
That's what I mean. A
he's
trade. If
earning
you
good money.
help them into that trade,
Yeah.
then yeah. But I guess they don't know how to access that. Plus, they do have to
They do have
pay their
systems-
way into it.
Oh, they do have systems in place where they do.
I realise they do, but I don't think that they have the knowledge to
They haven't
get
been
into
marketed
this.
that well.
Some will, and they just can't be bothered, and that's because they're relying on the welfare, and that's the way they want to get by. But maybe you said how maybe they can only have the welfare for a certain amount of time. Give them that bit of tough love, and be like, okay, you have the welfare for this long, and we'll give you that long to find a job, or like to start your apprenticeship or your TAFE course or whatever. But we'll help you get into it, and we'll subsidise it. But once you've gotten that, then you will be off the welfare, and you can pay your own way, and you can earn your own money.
There are quite a few limitations to that as well at the same time, right? In providing that, for example, a lot of those resources and opportunities, right, that arise won't always be in the places where they are, right? Because a lot of the
I was
situations...
going to make that point.
Yeah, you're comfortable where you are, right? Whether it be where your hometown is, your countryside, where it is, that's where they're comfortable, that's where the community is. And we all know if you really want to make it in this world, you've got to be willing to break free of all those shackles and get out there and make that of yourself, right? Having those opportunities for apprenticeships and stuff like that won't always be out there in the rural communities, for example, or communities that they're in. Even if there's only a handful of them.
But in those communities, a lot of them don't live off the welfare anyway, because they live within their own community and earning their way within that community. Whereas, like, if you're talking about places like, around Anala, there are so many people on welfare, might not be Aboriginals, could be many different races.
Africans are on there.
Yeah, there's
I know a lot of
Africans, there's Samoans, there's so many different ones, and they kind of need to get out of this rut and get off this welfare. Like, that Centrelink office at Inola is just packed all day, every day, massive line. Like, it's ridiculous.
I reckon. So I 100% agree with Josh's point, and I think you look at Australia. You compare to say America or England. Australia, what you got? Let's take a step out from the degree. I'm talking from like accounting law sort of background, I guess, because that's where if you know what I mean. But Sydney is where you got everything. Melbourne is a close second. Brisbane's third on the list, and it's about a country mile behind. But then you think of places like the USA, where you got that many cities with that many opportunities, and I think partially that could potentially be one issue. Because even if you go to say someone's like, okay, I'll make the move to Sydney, I'll make the move to Melbourne for these big opportunities, man, you're gonna buy like a 1-bedroom apartment. It's gonna cost you over $1 million in Sydney, and then like all the other stuff that comes with it, maintaining it and stuff like that. It's quite difficult. And then that's when you compare to places like the USA where stuff like, real estate's cheaper. And then when
everything's cheaper.
Everything's cheaper, and
except for the schooling.
Oh yeah, that's expensive. But like if you take into account that way, then you sort of understand that we have Australia's got inherent problem because of that. Because we got this massive land in the middle where there's nothing. I'm like, man, if it was up to me, right, I'd just get a whole bunch of investors. I'd make prospectors, sell it to them, just build a massive trench either from Adelaide to Alice Springs or Darwin to Alice Springs, or just go YOLO and go all the way north to south, and just try to break that barren dryness in the middle of Australia and give it some fertility.
You know the problem for that is?
Yeah, bro.
I think one thing that probably stops that from happening, I'm sure somebody's had that bright idea before.
I hope so, because it's not that difficult to think about.
There's not enough money within the Australian economy and within Australia to fund those.
Yeah, because you have to take that money from somewhere else.
Okay, let me tell you this, guys. I had clients who, okay, I'm not going to give everyone a lecture on public-private partnerships, but So there are ways, and it happens quite common, where big projects the Australian government doesn't fund. They have overseas investors that come, and all Australia does is lease it to them for an X amount of years, and that's it.
But see, that's the problem. I don't think Australia wants to do that.
Why would they want to invest too?
Why? Because they make returns on it.
In this specifically.
Sorry?
In this specifically.
In this specific example,
Yeah.
how they make returns? Oh, very easy, man. You got city councils running away from north to south. Those council rates, you take a cut of that because the council rates.
No, but in the short term, because this
You'll
might not work.
No projects ever make money in the short term.
Nah.
No, but
None will. Not even 30,
But the-
40 years.
yeah, but this could take literally centuries.
It wouldn't take centuries. It wouldn't take centuries.
Not with the growth of development
No.
technology, probably decades.
When you have projects like this, generally the lease is 100 years, and you're gonna make zero cash for the first 20, 25 years, depending on returns, because you've invested so much money to start off with. But overall, these projects, they're sold to give the investors a return. That's the way they are. You always have the outcome such that you make a profit, and the way you do that, the rate of return you give to investors will always be above what their cost of investing is.
And who's going to do it also?
There's many listed. I'm not going to mention my clients I used to work on, but there's many listed companies.
No, I don't mean who's going to invest.
Oh.
I mean who's actually going to do the job.
So then those investors, they're project managers, and they'll get like companies like Lend-Lease or companies like Downer.
Yeah, I realise that, but
that's your companies who do the construction.
So, yes, I realise that, but how can you get that big of a job done?
You can do it, man. Look, Dubai made a palm tree island.
Yeah, but that's tiny compared to this.
No, man, you can do
You
it.
start small, you expand.
You can do it. You can definitely do it.
I think my only issue with your idea, not a bad idea.
Yeah, man.
My only issue with your idea, you're letting other countries invest into Australia.
Oh, we've already done that.
But I'm saying everything that happened so far is slow over time progression, right? You're giving them an open doorway into at the beginning of the podcast I mentioned the security that I talked about. That everything out of the window. You're letting all these big companies, corporations.
It's not, and there's two reasons why it's not. First reason is because it's leased. It's not sold. And second reason is irregulated. You have it audited, and that's part of regulation. Everything gets audited.
Yeah, but a lot of countries invest and need their foot in the door.
Yeah, but they invest in Australia. Like if you're talking like say China, they buy real estate, they buy companies. Something like this be leased. They have no right. They have no crown over the land. It'll just revert. It's like you go and rent a shop, except you rent for a long time.
I agree. I'm just saying that they'll find avenues and ways to. It's like spreading.
It's pretty hard to bust that one up.
It's
there's always corruption too.
It's like when you plant a tree, and then its leaves fall down, and its fruit falls down.
Got to make sure it's not a shitty tree, don't they?
But that's what I mean. And how do you know? Right?
But it's so common. Like there's companies, there's investors that know to build shopping centres, build jails, build hospitals in Australia because the governments want to spend money, so they'll just get the overseas companies to do it.
That's what I mean. Like then you have to make it so that they invest only in that section only. They can't invest in the rest of the country.
Oh, why not?
But that's what I mean. They're infiltrating the rest of the country.
But they're private companies, man. They're not government companies. It's not like government's coming investing. You got private companies listed on a stock exchange. Theoretically, those companies are owned by other companies, which are owned by other banks, which are owned by other shareholders, owned by super funds. It's not like if you got one company coming overseas.
You see, all money is.
It's only if you have a governmental company. Like if you had a company which is owned by government, then you're like, But if you got a super fund, bro, they're also investors.
This is going to cost more than any job in the world.
Well, see,
I'm not sure about the world. Probably Australia, yeah.
But like this is bigger. This is so many times bigger than them building a wall in America to cut off Mexico.
I couldn't comment on that. But the amount of benefit, man, like you got, like, can you imagine, like all this land in the middle of Australia, it becomes now livable, right?
That'd take a very long time. For it to become livable.
But it's better than doing nothing, right?
Like I think this trench will take 100 years to build, like to dig out, whatever, and then. For it to actually prosper on top of that, it's going to take decades.
We'd have to get an engineer to tell us how long it would take to dig out. From a prosperous point of view, again, as technology expands, it's hard to comment on, I'd say.
I don't know. I mean, the pure funding of that would be insane. Because you think about costs of like labour wages, resources in Australia. Like, that's another factor of, like, within Australia. Like, people mention of the fact that Australia has the minimum wage is really good, everyone gets paid really good, but at the same time, the flip side of that is our cost of living is quite high.
This will solve that.
Yeah,
But
This project will solve that issue.
you know what we also haven't thought about?
Yeah.
People that don't want it to happen. People petitioning against it.
Mm.
There's going to be so many people that are going to be against this too, and will literally stand in the way.
Yeah, I know who those people would be. They'd be like the people who don't live in Sydney, don't live in Melbourne, don't live in Brisbane, which is like 30% of the population. Literally. But going back to your point, Josh, the reason why it fixes the problem of costs is because now you got more area, more cities to live in, which will be habitable, grinding up that trench. So the pressure of Sydney, Melbourne, and you could say almost a Brisbane person to mix, it reduces because the population's now got other places to go to. So that's the first thing. Second of all is you got all this. So with that the water getting introduced and making it more fertile, you'd expect it to be more investment in agriculture and those sorts of things. So once that happens, your cost of fruit, your cost of vegetables, your natural resources also should reduce.
You change the whole climate of the country too.
I'm aware of that. That's one of the things I was thinking about, because then when you do that, then
there'd be more evaporation there. Yeah, therefore more rain.
Yeah.
You'd hope so, because there's not a lot of natural resources out there in terms of
not a lot of anything out there, is there?
That's what I mean. Yeah. So the thing is,
maybe you will find something if you do this that you don't know about.
Oil deposits.
Yeah, they could be.
Yeah,
we haven't discovered things that could be definitely there.
But here's another aspect of that.
Yeah.
You're taking away a huge aspect of the natural Australian.
Right? We have so much of that.
We do have so much of that, but so much of it we don't touch. The area which you're covering is the areas that people touch and people see, because people drive through there a lot. Anyone who goes road tripping in Australia knows there's a whole bunch of country towns which you're about to cover up and just destroy and build new cities on top of. Yeah, you're going to say you're going to grow them, but those country towns which people live in, have created lives in, they're gone.
But we just said at the beginning of the podcast, we're talking about people not making most opportunity, and we made the point that's because it's difficult for them to move to these opportunities.
Yeah, but these people don't want those opportunities.
But they have their own opportunities. Yeah. They're still working and earning their own living.
So I think this goes back to the original point, well, not the original, one of the points made of different people have different aspirations. But I think if you honestly want to resolve an issue where you want to give people more opportunities, not saying you just want to make it more practical for people, I think something drastic would be a way to go, because all that land, the middlemen, look how much there is.
Agreed. It depends how far or where it's restricted. If you go pretty much anywhere within Victoria, New South Wales, right, as in towards the cities off the coast and going inwards, there's country towns everywhere. There's thousands of people living up and through there. I don't think it's practical. I mean, yeah, you can do it 100%, but I'm saying the amount of backlash you receive from...
It's north to south from Darwin to Adelaide, I'd say. Cutting through Alice Springs. You have a two-part project. You start from one, you make it Alice Springs, and you go...
I'd go through Queensland, because you've already got the link between, it's again, not as much, but B, I mean, there's a lot of, central Queensland, which is, pretty much nothing.
So, Raimi, you're saying this is practical and possible to do?
I think so. I reckon proper prospectus
why would you do it that way and not just create your own, oasis type thing in the middle of Australia, the Mediterranean Sea kind of thing, so an inland sea, but within Australia?
How would you get the water in there, man?
There's water is underneath all Earth, so if you dig far enough, it'll naturally create its own sea.
I'm with that. So long as I think we make use of land, that's not that. If that works, that
digging
works.
Far enough means you have to dig a lot though to create your own natural sea.
It'd be the same depth as the trench, so it wouldn't really matter.
Yeah, so long as there's some sort of resolution...
You just wouldn't have to come all the way from the coast.
Realistically, though, if you go through central Queensland, there's actually quite a bit of rain that goes through there naturally, so you wouldn't have to put as much effort into
you have to capture resources.
Rain. In terms of providing things off the land and the natural resources, you get a lot of that going through central Queensland because there's a ton of rain that goes up there. There's cyclones and stuff that go through there all the time. If you go straight to the outback from Darwin and stuff like that, it's pretty dry out there.
And what about the ecosystem? Is this gonna...
Do we have much that lives out there besides
there's
scorpions?
Plenty that lives out there.
Well, there's plenty that lives, but will it help it? Maybe not the ecosystem that's already there, but maybe
the future projections of it.
Yeah, say things that are good here in a more tropical climate, along the coast of Queensland.
Oi!
thought that was a possum. I was so scared. It came towards me. I was like, no.
Anyway,
Don't do
the
this.
climate there will become more tropical.
Sorry, guys.
Therefore, you could have more land and more of a home for different animals that are from here to move over to there and create more homes and lives for different animals too.
Yeah, I agree. Kind of. I think the point you're making is correct because, I mean, you'd expect where there's more water there'd be more like
Yeah.
flora and fauna.
Well, yeah, like everyone's talking about so many Australian animals that are endangered in that,
Yeah.
and because we're destroying their homes because of cities being built and all that kind of stuff, and humans being there to, ruin it all.
You know, actually, the point you made before now sort of sparked a question in my mind. Like, you said about cost and stuff. What I'd really like to know, I know we would never get this because government would want a degree of privacy and not want information leaked to other governments, but it'd be really interesting to get a good proper split of where all our taxpayer money goes. Like
percentage of where it goes here, where it goes there.
Yeah, man, like detailed cut. Like we could then really figure out how much
You know what
bullshit
happened
cost.
in America?
What happened in America?
There was an unadjusted, well, not unadjusted. There was an unexplained adjustment.
Oh, I've heard about this. Was that
Massive.
provided to the CIA or something?
Yeah, like $2 billion or something.
Yeah, I've heard about
I was
that.
like, how do you know? It's like when you chuck it to drawings.
Yeah, in the
Who
accounting. It's not. It's interesting. I assume the country like USA would like it's real legit like intelligence agencies and they got NASA and stuff. Like there'll be some serious question marks. But like in Australia, I just wonder like where the cash goes and stuff. I mean, you sort of got an idea, but it'd be interesting to get a breakdown and you can really budget for some project like this.
How much is budgeted just to the the politicians and
I
like
don't
how
know,
much they
some
earn?
stupid amount, man. I have some high salary and some high pension.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, how much do they get?
They get as much as I wish I got.
I'll tell you, it's too much to justify what they're doing.
Does it really justify their workloads?
It probably make
And,
I think it would make all four of us seeing this car quite sad if we were to find out.
Well, I know how much the pension is for a
for an ex-politician in certain areas. Yeah.
Again, something which would make all four of us cry, I'm sure.
Yeah.
well,
That probably live
And they're
in
not
the
even
state.
working for it anymore.
Yeah, man.
it's post $100,000.
How do you become a politician?
You gotta get niggas to like you and shit.
Yeah.
Alright, guys, like me, please.
Like, comment, subscribe. Yeah.
No, but seriously, I need that, Josh. Doing nothing. Oh man, but yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. That'd be one project that be pretty interesting.
So we basically just figured out how to fix Australia.
So we fixed Australia. So we
but
basically.
we also established at the beginning of the podcast that we're all happy with the country and that it's not actually nothing wrong with it. So
Yeah.
I'm not nothing
Well,
wrong with it, but
there's definitely things wrong with it, but
you know what I mean.
it is.
In comparison, I'm happy to be here.
It's arguably the best country in the world.
I think so. I reckon it'd be very hard to
Yeah.
top Australia. Like it's like what it's like
What did Obama say? Beautiful or sunny one day, beautiful the next, or something like that.
something. But yeah, it's all about PR, I guess, for those guys.
Oh,
Anyway.
but like it's true though, isn't it?
It is
I
true.
love it.
I reckon the closest competitor that comes to my mind, I think we beat them on the weather, is Canada.
Canada,
Yeah. Like
Canada, maybe Austria.
What about like Iceland too?
Iceland sounds cold, bro.
Bro, Canada's colder.
Oh shit, eh? Well, I did say we beat them on the weather.
Greenland is colder, isn't it?
Greenland is the North Pole, bro. You don't get much colder than that.
That's
what
pretty
I'm
cold, bro.
trying to say, like,
That's pretty cold,
it's
bro.
like Greenland is ice.
And you get-
Iceland is green though.
Yeah,
Because it's
pretty
so
much.
cold, it goes green.
Yeah, no, that's not a thing.
No, get chased by polar bears or something, bro.
In Iceland, yeah, absolutely.
Damn, man, you need your running boots on for that. Yeah, man, we got.
Iceland's like from here to like 10 k's up the road too, so you won't have far to run too.
Oh shit, eh?
Yeah, you'll just be cornered on the side of the
Well, like
island.
people say like there's a lot of crazy animals that try to kill you in Australia. Like I think in the middle somewhere there would be, and you do see occasional snakes and stuff, but it's not that bad. I mean, we haven't died, like right? We're all alive.
Like
Yeah.
you're
Holy
more
crap, what's that? No.
Dude,
Nah.
we just shot ourselves from a possum.
like
No, you shut yourself up.
you're more likely to die
you just
from
got quiet, you bitch.
you're more likely to die from a shooting in America
Than an animal. in
than
Australia.
an animal in Australia. Like,
Well, Rami, just don't do anything stupid in America, please.
We'll see.
No! We had a chat, I'll tell you. Area 51, and then you won't do anything stupid.
We'll check.
yeah, we'll do Area 51
okay.
and then nothing stupid after that.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, well, I'll give you the
we-
Mustang.
We can
Drive.
go to Alcatraz too.
Yeah, no, you guys do that right? And then me and Jashia will be sat here on the hotel, right? It's alright, just like Coffs Harbour, bro.
Do we have to get the Mustang? We're not going to get it back.
Yeah, you're not
it
getting it back.
doesn't matter. It's not going to be on my name.
We make any names.
Oh, Ramey's names.
No, we make any names.
No,
Just keep you guys honest.
I'm the one who's going to be picking it up. I know your first and last name.
I changed my identity, bro.
But I think I went to the point of like...
It's like Ramey George.
Yeah, George.
It's like, get everyone. Ramey, Khan, and George. That's his last
Yeah,
name.
bro. Well, what do you
It's
want now? I don't know.
like, so everyone in, except me. No, I think we're getting way too sidetracked. I think we should call it quits. Not call it quits. Call it end for the podcast. Thanks for listening, guys. If you guys got anything you guys want to add, well, it's too late because we've already kind of recorded this. So let us know in the comments below, and yeah, like, comment, subscribe, and don't forget to share with your friends if you haven't already.
But we'd definitely like to add on to
Come
this
on,
podcast.
man, that was like the best ending as well, bro.
So next podcast, we'd like to add on a bit more information and get a bit broader on this topic too.
Australia, mate. Australia.
Yeah.
All right.
Alrighty.
See you guys.
Okay.
Bye.
See you guys.